Here's a demonstration of how to solve a solitaire battleships puzzle as featured in the October newsletter. The first thing that you'll probably do when you see a puzzle like this is look at any kind of gimme rows, if there are any zeros. So the first thing we would do in a puzzle like this is make sure we note that this whole row is water. Then the next most obvious thing to look at often is rows and columns that are forced to be completely full of ships in what's left. So for example, this 4 column, now that we have water here, it needs to have ships all the way down here and down there so that it's full. Now, once we have completely placed a ship in the grid, we make sure we mark it off in the ship bank at the bottom so that we know we have used that. Also, whenever we have a ship, we know that no other ships can be directly adjacent to it, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. So all of these spaces right next to the ship can be made into water. Now we've got a 1 clue and only 1 space left, so we can make sure that's a ship. We still don't know how long this is, whether it stops right there or keeps going. So the software just uses this little angled indicator to show us that. However, now here's the third thing we can do. We can look at the bank of ships and see what is available and what we still need to place. And notice in this bank that there's nothing larger than a 2 left to place because we've already used the 3. So in fact, we know that this ends right here. And now we have the other situation we talked about where in this row we have used up 2 and we have 2 left, 2 open spaces. We don't know what they are, but we need to have 4 cells that are ship, so both of these are part of a ship, and we should mark those off of the bank like that. Okay, so now what? We have 3 single cell ships, those are called submarines, left. In fact, we have a situation up here we should take care of first where this row has only 1 ship in it, and we already know what that is, so we can fill in the rest with water. So now we know that one of these 2 has part of a ship in it, one of these 2 has part of a ship in it because we've already got 1 down here, and one of these 2 does because we got part of a ship down here. So so of these 3 remaining ships, one of them has to go in each column, but that doesn't tell us whether they go at the top or the bottom. So we're going to have to look at the left side to figure that out. And the key is this 3 right here. We need to have 3 cells with ships in them. And we've taken care of 1, so 2 of these have to be ships. But if you look at what's left, we can't have 2 cells that have ship in them right next to each other, or else we'd have, because there are no ships like that left. So in fact, it has to be these 2, and that makes this one water. So now we can look at the columns. This one's done, and all we have left, we should mark these as used. This last ship has only 1 cell left, so it goes right there, complete. Now, some things that this example didn't show that I should say really quickly. As you're looking around, one other piece of logic that you will see is when you have, let me give an example like this. If you have a ship that is beginning in a direction, let's say we had some longer ships over here, so we didn't know how long this was going to be. The neighboring logic is really useful, the neighboring cell logic, in that we know that no matter how far this ship goes, we can't have any other ships in these spaces because they would touch here. In fact, we can't have any ships in these two because they would be either diagonally next to this cell or directly next to this cell. So whenever you see the end of a ship or even the middle of a ship, if you know which direction it's going, you can do that. Also, here's a simpler version of that same logic. If I know that is part of a ship, even though I don't know anything about it, all the ships in the bank are either a single dot or they're a straight line. And we can't have two ships that are diagonally adjacent to each other. So in fact, no matter what this ship is, all of the cells diagonally adjacent to it can be marked as water. So those are a couple more things to keep your eye on as you look at more involved versions of puzzles. And with that, I'll leave you to it. Good luck.